Ordinary Boy in His Dreams, Chapter 6, an Artemis Fowl fanfiction, starting from the end of Chapter 6. Hi, Artemis, Shannon said. Hi, Shannon. God, she was beautiful. For the next hour, Artemis sat around, watching people dancing. He had never danced in his life! Thinking that he really felt like he was missing out on life. He really should get out more. Then suddenly the most amazing thing happened to him. Hey, Artemis, I was wondering, would you like to dance? Shannon was asking him to dance! It was the most unbelievable thing to have happened to him! Ever! What was he going to do? He couldn't dance! But then again, he would probably never get a chance like this again! He just had to take it. Well, yes, I would. Really? Great! But let me warn you, I am a horrible dancer, Shannon said with a smile. Artemis found that hard to believe. For the next hour, Artemis danced with Shannon. It was the best feeling in the world! With her wrapped around his shoulders, he felt as if nothing could ever go wrong. She said something about getting away from the excitement, and the next thing he knew, he was outside making out with the girl of his dreams. A note from the author. I hope you loved that chapter as much as I did. I got butterflies just writing it. Ordinary Boy in His Dreams, Chapter 7, an Artemis Fowl fanfic. The next week was bliss for Artemis. After quote-unquote the moment, as Artemis liked to refer to it, Shannon and Artemis went back to the party. Wait. Like a week later? This must be a real long-ass party.
This is a week later.
These people know how to party.
Anyway, hey, hang on. Because Logan came up to them and asked them where they had been, but they didn't say anything.
Where have you been for the last week?
They danced for a little while longer, until Butler came to pick Artemis up. He couldn't stand the thought of leaving. How could he? But in the end, he turned to Shannon and gave her his phone number, and she gave him hers. Call me, she had whispered into his ear, and he knew he would. Artemis decided that it would be a good idea to tell Butler everything. To be fair to Butler, he hid his emotions well. He pretended not to be amazed, and most of all, which he found surprising, disappointed. What? He didn't know why, but Artemis, having a girlfriend, made him uncomfortable. But he could tell Artemis was extremely happy and resolved to be as happy for him as possible. After all, it was his first human friend other than himself.
What? Was Butler like a gay robot or something? His first human friend?
I'm so confused. This grammar is so weird. And we danced for a while, Artemis was saying, and then we kissed. Just hearing himself say it was amazing. He had kissed a girl! Butler couldn't hide his emotions that time. You what? He caught himself. I mean, really? Wow, she must really like you. Yeah, I like her too, Artemis said in a dreamy voice. She is so magical. But then he stopped talking, wrapped in his own thoughts. When they got back to Fowl Manor, his mother and father were sitting in the lounge. Hey, Artie, how was the party? His father asked.
His week-long party.
Oh yeah, they party. It was good. I had a nice time. Well, I am glad to hear that. Artemis wandered up to his room after that amazing conversation with his father. Suddenly he was tired. He crawled into bed, thinking of Shannon. The next day, everyone was talking about how Shannon was going out with the new kid. Artemis and Shannon didn't care. They spent as much time as possible together. If they were in each other's classes, they stood by the door to wait for them. They sat together at lunch and walked down the halls together. Artemis didn't even notice how popular he had become. Apparently, Shannon was in the quote-unquote in crowd. So now that he was dating her, so was he. That's the sentence. Everyone talked to him. It was nice to be liked by so many people, but he hardly paid attention to it. All he knew was that he was the happiest he had ever been in his life, after his father had been discharged from the hospital. There were some disadvantages to his bliss, though, too, as he found out the second day after he and Shannon had started dating. This is day 2 at... Wait, I thought... A week ago? Okay.
Timeline's confused.
Sorry. Okay, sorry. Apparently, Shannon had been going out with Brian Goffner, the captain of the football team, until
Brian?
2 weeks ago. Brian? Shh. Artemis had heard that he had broken up with him after he was caught flirting with another girl. He was still upset, and he didn't like the fact that his ex-girlfriend was going out with some snot-nosed so-called genius. Brian wouldn't have cared if he was the king of the United States. He was going to teach this kid a lesson. Of course, there is no king. Oh, here we go. See, addendum in parentheses here.
Okay.
Of course, there's no king of the United States. That is just proof of how intelligent Brian really was. Oh, author, you're so clever. Thanks for clarifying. And then, no period. And the next day, he got his chance. There was the kid standing all by himself at his locker, reading something, if you could believe it. This is going to be too easy, he thought to himself. Hey, kid, he shouted at Artemis. Artemis turned around. Can I help you? He asked in a voice dripping with sarcasm. It went right over Brian's head. Hint from the reader here. Brian is not intelligent, so he didn't get Artemis' sarcasm.
I see. I've been confused.
Yes, you can. I want you to stay away from my girlfriend, Brian said. Artemis rolled his eyes. I suppose you're going to beat me up now. Probably. How did you know? Brian asked. He wasn't used to this kind of attitude. Well, judging by the fact that you have a menacing look on your face, and that your cronies are all around you, I would guess that you told everyone that you would beat up the new kid after second period. Actually, I know this for a fact because I heard it myself. Well, aren't you scared? Brian asked. Don't you feel like running away like a stupid little girl crying all the way? Brian liked it when they ran. It gave him something to do. Now, why would I do that? It would make me look like a complete idiot, which I am obviously not. Besides, I have seen things scarier than you. Things that would make you run away and cry like a girl. This kid was asking for it. No one ever talked like this to Brian when he was about to beat them up. Usually they just pleaded for him to let them go. This was different, and it made him slightly uncomfortable. Not that he would let any of his friends know that. You think you are so smart, don't you, kid? He asked. He gave Artemis his best bully look. It was usually enough for anyone to back down. Yes, actually. And do you know why? Artemis gave Brian his best vampire smile. Why? Artemis sighed. Because I am. I thought you were more intelligent than the average worm. Apparently, I was wrong. Okay, that was it. No one insulted Brian Goffner and got away with it. He wound up his arm, preparing to knock this snot-nosed kid to the moon. That would teach him. But if Brian had been paying attention to his victim, he would have noticed that Artemis was searching for an angle. Something he'd picked up from Butler. He found one. About 2 feet behind Artemis, there was a large trash bin. If he shuffled his feet a little bit so he ended up behind it, he might just be able to avoid getting hit. Maybe. Artemis maneuvered himself to the correct position. No one messes with me, Brian exclaimed with a period. He then proceeded to run full throttle straight at Artemis. Suddenly, Artemis whipped the trash can bin in front of him, blocking Brian's path. It didn't take much effort, considering that it was barely half full. With one L, the unfortunate bully cascaded headfirst into the trash bin. Oh, Brian, maybe you should have been watching where you were punching. And walking while punching. The laughter started somewhere at the end of the hall. Suddenly, Aaron was wheezing with laughter, even Brian's cronies. It had been a hilarious sight. Artemis grinned into the trash bin. I believe that someone with your IQ would now shout, "Sucker!" Artemis turned around and strode down the hallway to his next class, wearing a smug grin. Nothing was more amusing than crushing someone's ego.
How big is this trash can?
Brian pulled himself from the trash bin.
Dude, I can punch over a trash can. It's not that complicated.
Steve. Let's not, okay?
You're ruining this work of art.
Yeah, come on. Alright. Brian pulled himself from the trash bin. He had yogurt dripping from his crown, and there was a piece of pizza stuck comically to his shirt. It's so comical. Oh, he would endure much suffering after this. Wait until the whole school heard that the star football captain, Brian Goffner, had been utterly humiliated and defeated by the pale, skinny new kid. He would be the laughingstock of the school! Exclamation point. It was just too much. He needed revenge, and yet somehow those kids' eyes. Something about those eyes made him stop and think. Was it such a good idea going after that kid again? He had said he was a genius. Yeah, right, he thought to himself, and yet he couldn't help believing in himself. He decided to put off the decision until later. Right now, he had to go get this yogurt off his head. Note from the author. I know it took forever, but here it is. I love this chapter. Go, Artie! The end.
Please tell me it ends there.
It does end there.
When was this posted?
This is updated, I think, November 20th, 2006.
Ow.
Yeah.
So that's
That's over.
So this is my reading. That took about 10 minutes.